Hello, and welcome to It's a Twin Thing podcast.
A podcast where twins, me, Libby,
And me, Kate,
explore life, relationships, well-being, mental health, and everything in between.
Each week, we will deliver relatable content that you can connect with, from discussing our own experiences about the topics we love to guest interviews.
So join us for this week's fun and informative conversation. Now, on to the episode. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of It's a Twin Thing podcast. My name's Libby, and joining me today is my co-host and sister, Kate. Hello, Katie Pa.
Hello, Libby Lou. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And hello to everyone who is listening. I can't believe it's already our third episode. So thank you for being here and tuning in yet again. If this is your first episode you're listening to, then we have a few more previous ones. Go back and listen to them as well. But yeah, just having heaps of fun recording these. It's a really nice way to start the week.
It sure is, and I can't believe we are up to episode 3 already. Time flies when you are having fun. But if you are listening, it is Monday, so the happiest of Mondays to you all. What a good way to start your week if you are listening to the podcast.
100%.
What better way to start the day?
Yeah.
So how are you, Kate? Are you still in lockdown there?
Well, the question everyone wants to know. Yes, still in lockdown. Lockdown got extended where I am for yet another week because COVID cases are rising. So still live in lockdown life. What seems like living in Groundhog Day.
Oh dear. Yeah, not much to say on that one. So unfortunate, but
Exactly.
It is what it is.
Exactly. It's out of my control at this stage. So what to do? What about you? How are you?
I am good. It is actually a long weekend here, so it is a public holiday today. So that is a bonus.
Oh, that's nice.
But on that note, let's get straight into it. Our Rose and Thorn of the week.
Rose and Thorn of the week.
Our favourite segment. You can hear about how our life is.
One good thing is the rose. One not so good thing is the thorn. So would you like to start?
I think you can start this time and start with your thorn first.
All right. So my thorn of the week is kind of a rose at the same time, but it's been a thorn because it has been a pain. I've decided to give up coffee.
What?
Yeah, so it's been 7 days and counting since I haven't had a coffee. And I had a few days there, like I was fine for the first 4 days, I would say. And then after that, I just had 2 days of having a chronic headache. But I feel like I'm past it now and my energy levels have been great the last couple of days. So it's a thorn because it was really hard and difficult. Like I really love coffee.
So have you gone to CA?
What's that?
Coffee Anonymous. I'm on day 7 now and the withdrawals are really kicking in. It's been 7 long days since I had my last
7 long days and counting. I'm sure. Do you drink? Libby drinks quite a lot of coffee as well. And to
not
think
really,
about,
actually.
But do you have a coffee a day?
Yeah, an instant coffee. Like I actually never go out and buy like a full strength coffee.
Okay. Yeah. So
I could not handle that.
Yeah, I love coffee. I would buy a coffee probably, and then if I'm not buying a coffee, I would make a plunger coffee at home with decent coffee beans and grind them myself, like a little coffee connoisseur.
So what made you decide to give up coffee then, and for how long are you giving up?
Well, I get quite anxious sometimes, and if I'm trying to get to sleep, I realize I've had too many coffees because I can feel my heart kind of palpitating in my chest, and it doesn't sound very healthy, but that's when I can tell personally that I have been drinking way too much coffee too many days in a row. So it was affecting my sleep mostly. So I thought, it's the one thing that is really my vice besides yoga, but like, can I really go without coffee? Good challenge for myself.
Well, you need to get on that magnesium.
I have magnesium when I sleep as well, and I also have chamomile tea.
Because I find if I have magnesium, even if I've had like a little bit of pre-workout before the gym or anything, Hamish and I will have the magnesium at like 8 o'clock, and honestly, we get into bed at 8:30, and it's like we've been drugged. Like we're just like out to it.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's really good. I have it every night. I think it's especially good because it helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, so it just relaxes you before bed, and really good when you're doing more strenuous exercise as well. But
Totally.
yes, however, it won't be forever. I probably just cut down a little bit, and I'm thinking about just having a coffee on my day off on Friday to have it as like a special thing rather than relying on it, because I am finding my energy levels are a lot more steady during the day now that I'm past that point. And there is a quote by Carl Jung. He says, "What you resist persists." So if even though I'm not having the coffee, but I'm constantly thinking about coffee, then it's still wasting my energy, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. So I think you definitely need to go to CA on this.
Okay, I'm sure the other people listening who really like coffee get me. They know what I mean.
Can
However, I
relate.
digress. And my rose of the thorn this week, well, I have a few, I feel. One of them is one
All
of
the good
our
things. That's good.
I know, it's all happening here in lockdown this week. One of our best friends has announced that she's pregnant, so that's really exciting. Congrats, Shay, if you're listening. We're so happy and excited. I just went for a walk with her before, actually. And my other thing is that Lana Del Rey released a new album this week. Lana Del Rey is one of my favorite singers. She released a new album called Blue Banisters, and it's beautiful. So that is a
Wow.
highlight for me as well.
It's been a bloody good week for you then, and congratulations, Shane Corey. It is so exciting. Another little baby in the friend group.
Yeah,
Babies, babies, babies.
everybody's having babies.
And have you listened to the new album yet?
Come on, of course I have.
20 times on repeat. I just stay in my
Literally.
bedroom. I
I'm
will
that
have to give
person.
it a listen.
I'm literally that person who will listen to an album over and over again, or a song over and over again if it's new and I really love it. I think
I'm
it's
actually
the
that person too.
I think it's the Aquarius in us.
It is like, honestly, this week it's so funny. On my way to work, I've been listening to Adele's new song, Easy on Me. And I actually, before the song even finishes, I repeated and started again. And
I do that as well.
and I am just like belting it out. And I'm like, it's not even the end again.
I literally do the same thing. Oh my gosh, I do the same thing.
Oh my god, so sad. And then I will happily repeat that song 3
Especially if
times.
there's like that one particular bit that is really
Yeah.
good. I'm literally
Oh,
crying of tears right now. That's so funny.
all the feels.
All the feels.
Well, it's been an all around good week for you then.
Ah, yeah. What about you? Rose and Thorn, hit us.
Alrighty, where do I fucking start?
Oh
It's
boy.
been a week. Maybe I should start with the difficult and then finish with the good.
Leave us on a good note.
I feel like my bad week just started last Sunday. So something happened to me, and like this is totally ridiculous, and I'm not going to let it bother me that much. But Hamish and Poppy and I were having a nice family day out at the beach Sunday morning, and there was like 3 families beside us, all obviously like having a family day out at the beach. And there were like 3 mums. They were all like middle aged and like fully like not in their beach gear, swimwear. They were like in country road dresses and hats. But anyway, not in swimwear. And I was lying down with Hamish and Poppy, and then I sat up and I could actually hear the 3 women commenting on my bikini saying, "Oh my gosh, who wears that around children at the beach? Your bum is like sticking out." And they were literally only 5 meters away from us. And then they all stared at once, so I knew that they were talking about me. And I just like glared at them and saw red. I could not believe it.
They said that your bikini is inappropriate at the beach.
Yeah, pretty much saying like who would wear that bikini around their child.
Oh my gosh, your child that's not even 1 years old. For
I
God's
know. The audacity, I was just could not believe how rude it was.
sake. Did they know that you had heard them?
Well, I think they did because one of the ladies, like, well, they all looked over at once, and then I had set up at that exact time, and then just like glared at them, and then I just shook my head.
Thank you very much. I can wear whatever I like at the beach. That's the
I
problem
know,
in today's society. Women shaming women for wearing whatever they like at the beach, especially.
I
Wow.
know. Like, I actually think it was just like a jealousy thing, but it just really put me on a bad note. It's like, come on, how rude.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be definitely a jealousy thing, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. But after that, anyway, the rest of the week, it just hasn't been a good week in Lib's world.
Oh, sorry to hear.
It's
Sometimes
just
we just
been,
have one of those weeks, don't we?
yeah, it just has been one of those weeks. But anyway, a good thing is that it is a public holiday today, so I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the weekend with my family.
That's nice. Family time is always good, isn't it?
It is. And anyway, we are going to be diving in today and talking about how to know if you're settling in life or relationships. We will be talking about what settling looks like, why we settle, challenging our views and decisions, and how to pick up on toxic behavior, unhealthy patterns, realizing what you do and don't want in our lives. So there's a huge topic there and a lot to unpack, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I would also like to preface this by saying we had this idea about settling in life and relationships. Well, Libby did. It's an amazing topic. And I thought that she was talking about settling down. So we were talking about it for about 20 minutes. And I thought she was talking about settling down. And she was talking about settling in life and relationships. So we were talking about two completely different things.
And I was like, come on, Kate, our bullet points do not match settling down in life. Like, how fucking boring. Like, oh, yeah, I have a child and a partner. I'm definitely settling down. And then Kate wrote, like, house. And it's like, oh, yes, how do you know if you're settling down? Definitely if you own a house.
If you're living in a house, you're probably settling. But for me,
So,
it seemed relevant because I haven't had a house for so long. I guess maybe that's what direction that took me in.
yeah, I think so. But anyway, that is not what we are talking about.
We're talking about settling in life and relationships.
But something else we wanted to talk about first is this is such a crazy time in the world, and there just seems to be so much controversy happening at the moment between friends, relationships, political views, vaccine views. There's just so much happening and so many differing opinions. What the
Yeah.
hell do you think about it all, Kat?
Well, I think there is a lot of duality and division happening because of everything going on in the world, and it's really sad. I feel like we all live so separately, but really, we all need to be working together and having compassion for everyone and everything that's happening at the moment, regardless of anyone's opinions or what their individual choices. They still have the right to have the choice, and that's the important thing to me, anyway.
Yeah, I think that too, but I think the internet is such a dangerous place at the moment for misinformation and memes, and then oh, somebody will like the look of that, and then they'll share that, and it's actually even now interfering with relationships because like some people feel so strongly one way, and other people feel so strongly another way, and then they're telling people how they should be feeling or have you read this or have you seen this? It's just like, holy moly, this is all far too much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the thing is, you have your opinion, but you can't be so close minded to the point where you think your opinion is 100% correct. Like, that's just not the way the world is. The world is not black or white. There's no one is right and wrong. Like, the world is far too nuanced and complicated, and there are so many layers for
I
one
know,
opinion to be the right opinion,
sorry.
especially when it comes to each individual.
I know, and I don't understand why all of a sudden everyone thinks they're an expert or a health expert or
A doctor.
I know, there is just it's too much. It's like, come on, people, this should not be affecting our relationships, our political views, our vaccine views. These should all not be affecting our relationships, and it is so, so sad that it is. It's a crazy bloody time to be alive.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think that's the thing with the internet. It's so easy to see surface level information, but without actually knowing all the research behind it. And there's years and years of studies of particular things that are going on or particular happenings in the world. It's again coming back to that instant gratification, I guess, that you get from social media and taking everything for face value. You see one thing you resonate with and then you like it and you think that's the truth.
Yeah, and I think it's just because everyone's on the internet now. It's like people have always had differing opinions and views, but now because the internet is such a big thing, it's just more so in our face than it ever has been.
Yeah, and I think too, people just read social media posts. That's not even reading blog posts. Like, blog posts were at least in depth information and people had put time and effort into them. Then there is, again, the fact that with social media, you get fed the same information from the algorithm. So, say you liked one post about a particular opinion, I guess, when it comes to anything. The more you like those kind of posts, or the more you comment on them or share them, the more that you're going to get fed the same information and same content, same posts to reaffirm your opinion. So you're not actually seeing all sides of the coin, you're only seeing that one side. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And there is always information to back up both sides of the opinion, but have an example that I would like to use with you. And it is to do with political views. So I do know two people, friends of mine. She has a mum. She has a mum.
Who
Go
has a
figure.
mother?
No, she has a mum, and they have completely different political views to the point where the mum doesn't think climate change is real and has pretty much insinuated in Parliament that women shouldn't be wearing such skimpy dresses and outfits, all this controversy that's been happening, that they're pretty much like asking to be assaulted. So this girl has had to put aside her personal values so they can actually maintain a relationship. And to me, it's like, wow, how the hell do you even do that when those opinions are just like so on the spectrum? But you've just got to like breathe, and you can't say like, no, you are just like bloody crazy. And like, how can you have that opinion? They're past that point now where it's just like you just have to smile and nod. She just doesn't say anything, and I'm just like, wow.
How do you do it? Takes a lot of strength to be able to see past that and still maintain that connection. I feel like you have to look at how you're similar and what you do have in common, which is really important rather than focusing on how you're different and your different opinions and different things, you know?
Yeah, and I just think it's crazy because I think the mum's views have changed so much because she used to be sort of a different person and have these beliefs and these opinions, and they were the same as her daughter. That's how she raised her daughter, so that's why she had these values and opinions in the first place. So now that she's done a full 180, it would be really hard to see that sort of change and then just like have to accept that. So that was a crazy example anyway. I just thought, wow, that's like a really good example of
The
what
polarity
is.
in this day and age.
Exactly.
Thanks to getting fed so much information. I feel like a lot of it comes down to being fed with so much information. And also, it is nice that people are passionate about things, but then it also depends like how much they're going to throw their opinion at you. If they're really going to tell you this is the way it should be, or this is what I think. Like philosophy in general, you should be able to have two differing opinions or opposite opinions and thoughts, but have a conversation about it without, getting angry or without it separating you, because
Yeah,
you're
and
allowed to have different opinions. And I feel like I went through this when I very first went vegan 7, 8 years ago, whatever. You find out about veganism, anything really that you are super passionate about. And I'm passionate about veganism because of the animals, the environment, and the health, but mostly because I love animals and I just want them to live and be happy and free. And all I could say to everyone, there's so much suffering. The animals are dying. What are you doing? You're doing it wrong. You shouldn't be eating animals. And it was coming from a good place, of course, but ultimately that was my opinion and what I thought. I couldn't project that onto every single one around me and expect them to understand in the same way that I did, because we are
yeah.
also individual. So, yes, I feel like whatever you think is right to you to a certain extent, but the main thing is understanding that it's okay to have different opinions. You have every right to have your own opinion, but don't force it on other people as well.
Yeah, I think it is important that we have strong opinions and values. That's what makes us human beings. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to see two sides of the coin. You can't be so stuck in your opinions that you're not willing to even talk about or
Mm,
see anybody else's point of view, because at the end of the day, not one person is right and there's not one view and that's the right way or the highway.
exactly. We actually have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're stepping into dangerous territory.
Yeah, and separation and a division. And that's what we don't want. We want to focus on the similarities we all have with each other. And there's so much good things in the world rather than all these seemingly important. They are important, but especially when it comes to the relationships around us, like those are really more important. We should be nurturing them and focusing on what we do have in common.
Yes, I totally agree. And on that note, everyone just needs to be kind. We are all in this together. It's a crazy fucking world we are living in,
We're
and we're all just
all in
going,
this together. Do you know it?
yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at Libby waiting for her to join in, and she just says, "Yeah." Anyway, the next thing we want to talk about is morning routines. I think it's something that Libby and I are both really passionate about.
Morning routines. Do you have a morning routine? You should
Do
get
you
amongst it.
start the
If you
day
don't,
off right?
what are you doing?
You're getting up and just going. Slow down. Look after yourself.
What do you think the importance of having a morning routine is, Kate?
Oh my gosh, I can't even speak highly enough of morning routines, and I don't know what I ever did without one. I'm such a
Well, make it
slow.
short, make it sweet.
I know. I wanted to do a whole episode on this probably coming up. I think it's really important to start the day off slow, start the day off connecting to yourself, set some intentions for the day, connect to the breath, move your body, just take your time rather than going on social media, just having a shower, getting up and going to work without kind of collecting and finding your center first. I feel like it's just really important, to be honest. My
Yeah.
morning routine is about 3 hours long.
Well, not everybody has the luxury of time like you do,
I
Kate,
know. What
in
about
the
you?
mornings.
What are your thoughts on
So,
morning routine?
well, I think the importance of the morning routine, like you said, is just a way to start your day. And I think we live in a world where everything is so fast paced. It's like, okay, get up, have your coffee, have your breakfast, get out the door, get to work, and you're just like, go, 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 go. You're
Next,
just like,
next, next.
yeah, you're always just like,
In the rat race on the hamster wheel, round and
that's
around
right.
and around.
Round and around you go. No, I think it is very important. I used to have a really good morning routine before I had Poppy, obviously, and it was a bit more of a luxury. I would go to the gym every morning, and I would go down with my friends and have a coffee, and then I would go to the coastal walk, and then I would go to work, and I would just go into work like, "Whoa, I'm just like fucking zen, baby."
But it is so nice. Sometimes you have the luxury to have the time for a morning routine, but sometimes you can make that time to have that space for yourself in the mornings, which is also
Yeah.
just as important.
Yeah, I think it's important even if you just have like 5, 10 minutes where you're just either meditating or just having silence, just like really setting yourself up for the day calmly.
Exactly. Creating space for stillness allows us to also figure out and work through all these things in our mind in order to go on with our day with more clarity.
It does. And I think like structure is the best way to go about your day. Like I know I am a structured person. I have like the things I do every day. Like I've always been very structured and that's like what I thrive in. Like it's like I'm good to go.
Me too. I am absolutely a structured person as well. I feel like I have a little bit of freedom at the moment, but it's like a loose structure around it with how my day goes.
Yeah, like you still have your non-negotiables and things that you will do every day.
Non negotiables, everybody. That's what Libby said. That was the perfect way to say it. Non negotiables, the important things to you that you do daily to nurture yourself.
Yeah, and as Kate said, we will do a whole episode on this. But anyway, we just wanted to touch on it and just talk a little bit about self care and the importance of having that routine and structure if you are feeling a little bit lost, especially we know a lot of people have been working from home. So
Yeah.
that can throw out your routine and structure a little bit too.
Okay, cool. So I think we are definitely going to do a future episode on morning routines. We will go into a deep dive of my morning routine, Libby's morning routine prior to having Poppy, and a morning routine as a mum. I'm sure everybody's really interested in that as well because I know, wow, life changes when you become a mother.
And on that note, it is time to get into our new segment. Am
Am I
I
the
the
asshole?
arsehole segment?
Am I the asshole? So this week I went ahead and found some Am I the asshole posts that I'm going to read out to Libby. I think I found some goodies. So are you ready, Libby? Are you ready, everybody listening?
I
Here they,
cannot wait to hear.
here they are. All right. Am I the asshole for saying I prefer sushi to children?
Oh my gosh. What do you mean?
A little bit of a backstory. They were at a house party, this couple, and they decided a long time ago that they didn't want babies. The man has actually had a vasectomy because they really just don't want to have children, but their family will not give it a rest. So they keep saying, when are you having a baby? Like this. And she said, well, I really like sushi and I love fish, so I don't want to get pregnant because you have to stop eating sushi when you have a baby, when you're pregnant, I guess.
What? So her reasons for not wanting to have children is because she doesn't want to give up fish, or they have always been clear on the idea that they don't want children.
No, they have been clear, but she was just trying to keep the conversation light and say,
Uh,
jokingly, I don't want to stop eating sushi. The family's really pressuring them. It doesn't actually say what the husband thinks, but it just says that now there's a lot of friction between one particular member and the family because they just don't understand that they wouldn't want kids.
no, she is definitely not the asshole in this situation. It is totally a choice for them as the couple not to want children, and that's what they've always stuck to. So I would definitely stick to your guns, and the family should respect your decision of you not wanting children. This is 2021.
Exactly. Stay out of everybody's life. We all have the
Nosy
right to make
guys,
our own individual decision.
family.
Am I the asshole for invoicing my friend $121 after she pestered me for 17?
Oh
And this
my
is a funny one.
gosh.
So these friends, they have a potluck dinner, I guess, movie nights every week. And this one friend, she usually has it at her house and she buys takeaways and she cooks food for them every week. But this particular week, a different friend held it and they all ordered pizza together like they usually do. Then they left for the night. It was fine, lovely night. And the next day, the friend said, okay, so you and your boyfriend both had $8.50 each worth of pizza. If you could please transfer me $17, thanks. Like asking them for the money back, even though the friend usually just pays it regardless.
Oh my gosh. And
Um,
I know this is obviously a hard one because that is not a lot of money, $8.50. I personally don't think I am going to bother a friend for $8.50 or 17 in this case, but
yeah.
times are tough. So, if they really needed that $17, like it was going to be the difference of you being able to put food on the table again or not, then
That would be understandable. But it says here that she has over 20K in her account, and this other friend has bought the pizza and cooked meals every single other time without asking for it as well. So, what she did, she paid her the $17 and then went back, screenshotted all the stuff that she had paid for, and said, okay, cool. So now you can give us the $121 that you owe us.
oh, this is a hard one. And like ultimately this is actually gonna affect your friendship. Like when it comes to money, like this is awkward as fuck. But
Mhm.
I suppose like you are being petty. But at the same time, like if she really needs that $17, well, what's to say that you really don't need that $121? So
Yeah.
whew, that's a heavy one. I really don't know.
I think they need to have a discussion and figure out, okay, so we're just going to pay each other every single time or not going to, or some people are so different about money, you just don't know. Like if she
They
also
are.
can afford to just give her the $17, then that's fine. But at the same time, she's like asking for $17 even though she has been given herself so many times for free.
The verdict is out for me on that one. Woo, that's a tricky one, girlfriend. I don't know who's the asshole there, both of them.
Yeah, it's just an interesting conversation to have. I don't know. If you are listening to this and you know the answer to this one, let us know in the DMs at It's a Twin Thing podcast on Instagram. Okay, and the very last Am I the Asshole for this week is would I be the asshole if I ask my boyfriend to pay more rent because he broke an agreement they had? So the agreement they had is she makes double the money he does. So she pays $1,200 in rent and he pays 400. And to make up for it, because she loves his cooking, he said he'll do all the cooking, pack the lunches and cook dinner. So that was the agreement they had. Since then, he's now turned vegetarian for ethical, environmental, and health reasons. So he's obviously watched What the Health on Netflix. um, he's completely
Converted straight away.
he completely changed his cooking and stopped cooking meat entirely. So now they don't cook together. So she's asked him to pay more rent again. Is she the asshole? If she's also refusing to eat vegetarian.
Wow. That is just cooked. That whole situation. Who pays that much rent anyway?
I know that
But
is so expensive.
she is definitely not the asshole in that situation. Like she pulls her weight. Like she pays $1,200 in rent. Like that's a lot of fucking money. He only pays 400. Like he needs to keep up his side of the deal. And if he's not willing to like cook her what she needs, like she shouldn't have to change her lifestyle because he's decided to have this drastic change and wants all of a sudden to be vegan and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and perhaps he's refusing to cook meat now as well, or he'd have to cook a couple of meals, one for him or one for her. I think they need
Yeah.
to come to a new agreement, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
New agreement, new boyfriend. Moving on.
Not the asshole new boyfriend. There's such a vast difference in rent payments. I think it's a very fine line there with that one.
Alrighty, I absolutely loved those questions of am I the asshole? And there are some hard ones there. I am sitting on the fence with those, but on that note, I think it's time that we get into our episode. How to know if you are settling in life and relationships and friendships. This is a topic that is close to our hearts because we think everybody deserves true happiness as life is so short to be settling for less than we deserve.
So, are you settling in your relationship? If you're in a relationship, that is the question. So, how to know if you are settling in a relationship? It could be platonic or romantic. So, it could be a friendship or a partner. But what do you think settling in a relationship looks like, Libby, or what does it feel like, perhaps?
This is a big one. I think to me, what settling could look like or feel like is either being in an unhappy relationship or it could be being in a boring relationship. You could be in a toxic relationship and you are settling on this, and this has just become like the normal in your everyday to day life. So you could be really unhappy, or you could be used to having fights all the time. You could be used to being in a controlled relationship, or it could even be like a one sided friendship. So something that you're putting a lot of effort into and you're not getting anything in return.
Yeah, those are all very good signs. I feel like having a one sided relationship is definitely not healthy, and perhaps you would be settling because everyone deserves to have someone else in any kind of relationship putting the same amount of effort in as them.
Yeah, I think this is a hard one because there are so many different factors that can contribute to why you are staying in these sorts of relationships or why you are settling for less than you deserve. I think it could come from like your upbringing, how you're used to being treated, the environment that you're used to being in, the way that you've always been treated, so you don't think you deserve anymore, or you don't know how to actually escape that relationship or be on your own because you've never been on your own before as well.
Yeah, it could definitely be like a really serious situation in which you don't feel safe to escape a relationship as well. But that's not exactly what we're talking about today, I don't think. I feel like it's if you have the choice, are you aware that you are settling in a relationship?
Yeah, I think as we've been in relationships for a while and we become comfortable, our level of what we accept to deserve to be treated like can diminish because it just becomes so normal. So you could be like really unhappy and you've like stopped doing the things you used to do, or you've stopped like going on the dates, or like he's stopped putting in the effort, and you're just now settling for sort of like this mundane kind of
Mundane.
life.
And too comfortable. I feel like perhaps if you forget that you have your own opinions and your own thoughts and own life, that that is also a sign that you might be settling, where you're just not doing the things that you love anymore, or you don't feel comfortable to voice how you feel because you just do whatever your partner is doing. If there is someone who has a more stronger personality, or
Yeah, I think that is very important to realize that if you have stopped doing the things that are making you happy, all the things that you used to enjoy doing together, and now you've stopped doing those things too. Like there is literally so many things to this conversation that we could go into. But yeah, I think it's important to realize that behavior when it starts occurring.
yeah, definitely, because then you can become aware of the pattern. Because otherwise, you're just repeating the pattern and cycles over and over again, regardless of if you're unhappy or not. And first of all, having the awareness that you are unhappy in order to break the cycles, or in order to break the pattern you're in with that relationship, and speak your voice or actually do the things you love or realize that you want to change is really important as well. And it takes a lot to
Yeah.
get to that point sometimes. I feel like that's why sometimes people hit rock bottom, because it's that actual reminder of like, holy shit, I need to change something here, rather than changing it before you get to that point.
Yeah, and I had a good example of friendships as well and how to know if you're settling in a friendship. This is a really hard one. I know a girl and she had a friend who has a friend who is in quite a toxic relationship, and she never really hears from the friend unless this relationship is having problems, which they always are. And in one instance, the friend has like gone over there because the girlfriend's been really upset and they've had this big argument. And, she says, "You obviously like need to leave this guy," in which the girl never does. And then again, time goes past and she doesn't hear from her. And in one instance, the friend actually said to her, "Oh, can we hang out because I want to piss my boyfriend off?" So she was actually only using the friend as a distraction and just to get back at the boyfriend. She didn't really want to spend time with her. So, what do you think about that kind of friendship and what would you do in that situation?
I would first of all like to say it doesn't sound like she's in a very healthy relationship and she's not treating her friend very well. Like, no friend deserves that. And I'm sure the individual who's actually happening to doesn't deserve to be in that kind of relationship. No one does. That's the whole
No.
point. Like, you don't even realize you're doing it at the time because you're so in that pattern, you know?
Yeah, it is sad though because she said that the girl doesn't have like any family, so she knows that like this relationship is going to actually go really bad. So that she's so nice that she just like knows she has to be there, even if it is she is on the back burner when something
Yeah.
does go terribly wrong. So I do see that side of it as well.
Yeah, I feel like she's a really lovely friend for still sticking with her through that. Perhaps the clouds will lift and she'll be able to see clearly enough eventually, but hopefully it just doesn't get to the point where it is so toxic that something terrible happens.
Yeah, I
But I
know
still
it
think
is.
it's important that the friend voices her concerns to her as well.
Yeah, I think so too. You can be like, "Hey, I know you're going through a lot and I'm always here for you, but at the same time, like, I don't deserve to be treated like shitty. Like, I am always here for you. And I hope, it could be like reciprocal and that you also check in on how I am and actually make effort to want to be like a part of that relationship and friendship and just like hang out, not just when you're wanting to like get back at your boyfriend."
But again, like friendship and any relationship is a two-way street. I saw a post the other day on Instagram about relationships in general, and it said like the two people have to have the same end goal, basically. Not an end goal, but they have to put in the same amount of effort. And, whether there's something good happening, whether there's something bad happening, if you both understand that you want to have that relationship and you want to be friends or in a romantic relationship, you have to put that effort in and you have to come to a mutual understanding of that,
Yeah.
rather
So
than just
what
like leaving or communicate, I think is so important.
yeah, so
Communication.
why do you think people are scared to then think that they deserve more and be treated a certain way and they don't think their self-worth is
Well, I think that's exactly what it is. It's just knowing their own self worth and that they are worthy of being in a loving relationship. It very much depends on whatever trauma they have in the past. As you said, perhaps they might not think they deserve that kind of love. Perhaps they don't even know that because they've never even experienced that kind of love.
yeah, like what the hell does that even look like?
Yeah, like they just literally think that that is a healthy relationship to be in.
And then I think also it's obviously like such a comfort thing. Nobody really wants to start over. Like it's just so easy just to stay in that because in that situation you're like living together, you're sharing finances, you've got the same group of friends,
Exactly. And then you
going
have
out.
that thought creeping in like, what if something could be different? Wow, that's a scary thought. I remember having that thought in one of my past relationships, and it was really intense. As soon as you kind of have the thought, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't actually have to be in this relationship. It's a fucking terrifying thought because you literally think your life is going in one particular direction. And you're so comfortable, as you said, with the friends, in your relationship. Like you're just so comfortable in your routine, hanging out together. You're used to having someone around. Like to even think that it could actually be different and you could be by yourself. Leaving a relationship is really difficult.
And I think you also get used to like the drama as well. Like it becomes normal. So you don't see anything wrong because you're just like the fighting's normal. Like him talking to you a certain way becomes normal and all these things. And then one day something just clicks and just like, I don't have to be treated like this anymore.
That's it. It could be her as well.
Oh yes,
Females can be just
exactly.
as bad as males,
Oh
and
no,
everyone in between.
absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but one of my favorite quotes is freedom lingers at the edge of your fear. Freedom lingers at the edge of your fear, everybody. It's a hard hitter. I love it because it's really scary to do particular things, for example, leave a relationship. But on the opposite side of that, through that difficult time is freedom. Wow. So nice. You really
Absolutely.
learn who you are again, all over again, without that other person.
Yeah, and I think it can depend on what age you are as well, I think. Like, as a teenager, I was in a long-term relationship from when I was, like, 16 to 21, so, like, going on 6 or 7 years. And at that stage, you don't even know, like, who you are. You don't really understand, like, your values yet. You haven't, like, established your place in the world yet, like, you're only growing up, so you don't
Exactly.
know anything different.
Definitely, I could say the same thing because I was also in a long-term relationship, and I feel like we were literally just children having so much fun when we first met, and then we kind of grew up together yet separately, and kind of got to the stage where we weren't having the same feelings for each other anymore, and we had to go our separate ways. At the time, it was really freaking difficult to make that decision, but and my partner at the time, he wanted to stay together, and I said, like, after repeating the same patterns over and over again, and just like, no, it's just enough, I think we need to go our separate ways. And it was flipping difficult, obviously, like one of the most difficult things I'd ever done in my life, because we were together for 5 years or so. And a year or so later, he said to me, like, thank you so much for doing what I wasn't strong enough to do, because it was just the right thing to do. Like, it needed to happen because we were just not the same people we were when we met anymore. So, yeah, if I mutually wanted to stay with him and work things out, then that would have been different, but I didn't want to. So we had different goals.
Yeah, and through that, going out on your own, like, you have to discover who you are as a person and what you're interested in. And you need to, like, learn to love the life you live on your
Yeah.
own before you can even think about, like, starting a relationship. Like, I know when I got out of my relationship, I was single for, I think, 4 years or so after that, which is such a long time. But through that, there was, like, so much growth and development, and you learn to love your own company, and you learn to, like, love doing things on your own, and you also learn what is acceptable and isn't acceptable. And so when you do, like, meet the right person, you're like, holy moly, like, I know what I'm not going to settle for, and I know, like, exactly what I deserve. So you, like, have that power.
Exactly. And that's really nice too. Like, from these relationships ending, regardless of how long they are, you could just sleep with someone that's technically a relationship. I'm sure you'd probably learn something from them or be in a long term relationship. You eventually learn what kind of person you do and don't want in your life, what you deserve.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, everybody deserves that ultimate happiness.
Yes. And I think everyone deserves to feel content as well. Like, if you're in a relationship and you feel like there could be more or the other person could be doing better, you also at the same time can't have expectations as well. But you can't be like settling and then wishing that they were this other person, because ultimately an individual is just who they are. So you can't
Yeah,
be having too much expectations from someone else and wishing they were different than they already are.
I think a good example of that as well is religion. Religion is an interesting one because you grow up in these tight knit communities, and a lot of people are forced to marry young, settle down, have kids with someone that is in that same religious circle. And how do you escape that? Because then you are escaping, like, your family, friends, your whole identity. That's all you've ever known your whole life.
Yeah, wow, that's incredibly difficult. I feel like it takes so much strength to be able to, first of all, think outside of that circle you're already in, especially in that circumstance, because it's so easy to be closed minded when you're just so used to getting fed that information your whole life. But to like independently think, like, wow, things could be different. It's getting to that point where you're like, holy shit, that's scary, because you realize that you actually have a choice.
Yeah, I feel like one thing has to happen, which is like the turning point, and then you start to sort of look outside of that box or outside of that world, and then you're just like opened up to this whole another world of like possibilities, and the fact that you could choose your own career and that you can live on your own, or you could do this, or you don't have to have children. Like, I don't actually love this guy, like, we were made to marry.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not to say that all arranged marriages don't work out. A lot of them actually do. And a lot of them do make the efforts and end up falling in love slowly. But a lot of them don't. Definitely not.
Yeah,
Yeah. A
yeah,
lot of arranged marriages, they actually have relationships outside of their marriage. Then they just stay married because that's what their family makes them do. It's
yeah.
fascinating, fascinating stuff. But I know this is why people have affairs and stuff like this. Like they're so comfortable in the relationship that there's no spark there anymore, and they need to find that spark outside of that relationship. And it's really sad.
Yeah, that
You
is
have to
really,
put
really sad.
the same amount of efforts in as well. Like keep the spark alive, I guess.
You do. You sure do. Especially if there's kids and things in the situation too. It's just like igniting that spark and remembering like who you were as a couple,
Yeah,
not just
definitely.
like who you are now as parents.
Yeah, definitely. That's not to say that every relationship which is going through a difficult time means you're settling. Like it's okay to have the thoughts that, wow, there could be someone else out there. Like we're human, we all do have these kind of thoughts. But ultimately, if you want to be in that relationship, then you can make it work. Totally. Doesn't mean you're settling. You're putting
No,
it,
like things do take work. And you would know if you stopped caring once you if you just like stopped trying. But
yeah,
even if it's just some like simple as like a date night or like catching up with a friend once a week that you don't see as often anymore. It's just about yeah, you can make it work totally. It doesn't mean like you're just settling now, like this is your life.
yeah, bye.
See you later.
See you later. But I think also challenging our views and decision in this way is really important.
It is. Like, are you settling? Like, are you really unhappy? Or do you just need to put in a bit more effort into the relationship and things can be fixed and mended and like it's not the end?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, do you want to together? I feel like that's why coming back again to communication, it's so important to actually sit down with the person and say, like, hey, we could actually be doing this to improve our relationship. We could be going to a therapist. You know, it's so healthy to talk things through. That's why therapists exist. In my
Yeah.
opinion, everyone should have a therapist.
But also life is so fucking short. So like you need to decide like what do you want in your life? Like do you want ultimately happiness? Like so if you know that you are just in like this mundane, unhappy relationship, know that your self-worth is so much more than that and life is so bloody short to
Definitely.
stay stuck.
Do not stay stuck. And if you do feel stuck, just know that you are capable of being strong enough and you're wildly capable enough of looking after yourself and getting yourself out of that situation and finding a partner that treats you the way you deserve to be treated.
Like live the life that you deserve and every day you should be happy and grateful for the life that you are living because it's your choice and life is too
Absolutely. Like,
bloody short.
if you're not waking up with a jump in your step, just
What the
kidding.
hell is wrong with that? Wow, I feel like whew, just need to take a breather after all that. I think at the end of the day the take home message would be that everybody deserves ultimate happiness and we're all human beings. We're going to have ebbs and flows of life and things that happen in relationships that are bad and good. You're going to go through the highs and lows. That is life, and life is not perfect.
But at the end of the day, you do deserve to be happy and in a loving relationship. Life is meant to be enjoyed.
We all deserve true happiness and to wake up living a life that we love every single day because life is too bloody short.
Life is bloody fleeting. I was reminded this past week when a rugby union player died of just how fleeting life is. You know, when someone passes away and you just really don't expect it or you don't expect it to affect you so much, that kind of thing just puts everything in perspective and makes you realize, like, fuck, life is short. Don't worry, be happy.
It is terrible that it always
Be
takes something like that to just like give you that gentle reminder, but we all do
exactly.
it anyway.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up on that hamster wheel.
And on that note, I think that is the perfect time to bring in our quote of the week.
It's a very relevant quote of the week. I think this is going to be the norm. Would you like to say it?
Settling is the art of taking the easy way out. Sure, it will work, but you will never know what was truly in store for you if you had the courage to do what was right in your heart.
Wow, I love it. Listen to your heart. Trust your intuition because it's really telling you which direction to go in, I think.
That is truly powerful. And
Listen to
always
your
follow your
heart.
heart.
I'm like a freaking book of quotes and songs.
You are.
I don't
Oh,
even know what song it is.
get it with your heart. No, I don't either, but love that song.
Love it.
And on that note, I just need to take a breather And we'll get into our final segment, our fairy card. What are the fairies telling us this week?
Let's see. I'm just shuffling the cards. Take a few deep breaths since you like a breather. And tell me when to stop. Stop. All right. This week's message from the fairies is vacation. Wow.
Ooh.
Vacation. I feel like we all need a bloody vacation at the moment. All
So
right.
where are we going?
Let's see what the message says. Vacation. I'll pop this on the Instagram as well. It's a really beautiful fairy with, I think, a parrot behind. It's a bird anyway. You need a break from routines in stressful situations. This card urges you to take time for yourself so that you can rest and renew. Affirmation. I give myself permission to regularly rest and relax, knowing that by being revitalized, I am happier and more productive. So that doesn't mean literally taking a vacation. It could be literally taking a vacation somewhere else, but it also just means getting out of that routine and resting and relaxing.
So even just having a day like of being like off social media or not doing anything.
Just watch a movie and relax.
It's totally that time of year as well now where it's like coming to the end of the year and everybody's feeling tired and overwhelmed. So it's just a lovely reminder that we can all take a moment for ourselves for our ultimate happiness.
Slow down. Can't believe it's nearly the end of the year. It's literally the 29th of October as we're recording this today.
This year has just flown by.
2021 has been a biggie. I thought 2020 was difficult. 2021 has been a biggie for me.
It sure has, and I think that brings us to the end of our episode. We covered a lot of stuff today.
We certainly did. A reminder in this moment that you do not have to settle in any relationships or in life. You deserve happiness. You deserve the best, baby.
Thank you for tuning in, and if you loved this episode or liked this episode, as usual, please go on and give us a 5-star rating, and we would always love to hear your feedback. So either comment on our Instagram posts or send us a DM. We love hearing from you guys, and we love to see who's listening.
Yes, please tag us in your stories to tell us where you are listening. We really love to see where you are, and we will see you next week.
We will be here, same time, same place.
Lots of love.
I need a glass of water after the episode. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to It's a Twin Thing podcast.
If you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on Spotify, as it helps us a lot with exposure so other people can find the podcast too.
Or if you like, share with a friend, maybe even the random lady at the supermarket, and tag us in your stories, letting us know that you've joined us for our conversation this week.
Feel free to send us a DM on Instagram as well at It's a Twin Thing podcast. We would love to hear from you. And until next time,
we love you.